Friends, I am going to continue the discussion of American literature in this video. Ezra Pound. Ezra Pound was one of the most influential American poets and critics, as well as a major figure in the early modernist movement. His contribution to poetry began with his development of Imagism. Imagism is a movement derived from classical Chinese and Japanese poetry. It stresses clarity, precision, and economy of language. His important works are Ripostes, Hug Sylvan Moberly, and the unfinished 120 section epic, The Cantos. Next important poet is Robert Frost. Robert Frost received 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry. His important poems are Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, Road Not Taken, After Apple Picking, Mending Wall, Directives, and some minor poems for net exam are The Witch of Goose, Home Burial, A Servant to Servants, Neither Out Too Far nor In Too Deep, Provide, Acquainted with the Night, The Most of It, An Old Man's Winter Night, To Earthward, Spring Fools, The Lovely Shall Be Choosers, Design, and Desert Places. Next important poet is Wallace Stevens. Wallace Stevens was one of the important modernist poets. His important works include The Auroras of Autumn, Anecdote of Jar, Illusionment of 10 o'clock, The Emperor of Ice Cream, The Idea of Order at Key West, Sunday, The Snowman, and 13 Ways of Looking at a Blackbird. William Carlos Williams. His important works are The Red Wheelbarrow and Patterson. Patterson is an epic. In this epic, he celebrates his hometown of Patterson, New Jersey, as seen by an autobiographical Dr. Patterson. In it, William juxtaposed lyric passages, prose, accounts, and historical facts. E. Cummings. He was an American poet, painter, essayist, author, and playwright. He wrote approximately 2,900 poems, 2 autobiographical novels, 4 plays, and several essays. He was the first American poet to recognize that poetry had become primarily a visual, not an oral art. His poems used much unusual spacing, indentation, as well as dropping all use of capital letters. His important works are The Enormous Room. It is an autobiographical novel. Tulips and Chimneys. It is poetry collection. And In Jest is his famous poem. Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes' important works are, the first one is The Ways of the White Folks. It is a short story collection. And The Negro Speaks of Rivers. It is one of the best poems of Langston Hughes. F.Scott Fitzerald. His important works are This Side of Paradise, The Beautiful and the Damned, The Great Gatsby, Tender is the Night. Here, This Side of Paradise became the best seller. It was heralded as the vice of modern American youth. The Great Gatsby was his masterpiece. It is brilliantly written, economically structured story about the American dream of self-made man. The protagonist, the mysterious J. Gatsby, discovers the devastating cost of success in terms of personal fulfillment and love. He has written some story collections also. They are Flappers and Philosophers, Tales of the Judge Age, All the Sad Young Men. Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway's best novels are The Sun Also Rises, A Farewell to Arms, For Whom the Bell Tolls, The Old Man and the Sea. The Sun Also Rises is about the demoralized life of expatriates after World War I. A Farewell to Arms is about the tragic love affair of an American soldier and an English nurse during the war. For Whom the Bell Tolls is set during the Spanish Civil War. The Old Man and the Sea is his masterpiece. It is a short poetic novel about a poor old fisherman who heroically catches a huge fish devoured by sharks. It won him the Pulitzer Prize and the Nobel Prize. He has written some short stories also. His important short stories are The Snows of Kilimanjaro and The Short Happy Life of Francis Macomber. William Faulkner. William Faulkner was one of the greatest American writers. He was Nobel laureate. He created an entire imaginative landscape called Yagna Patwa country, like Arkanarayans Malgudi. His important works, A Fable and The Rivers, won Pulitzer Prize for fiction. The Modern Library ranked his novel The Sound and Fury sixth on its list of 100 best English language novels of 20th century. His other works, As I Lay Dying, Light in August, Absalom. The story A Rose for Emily is one of the most famous one. The title Sound and Fury is taken from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. Light in August is about a complex and violent relations between a white woman and a black man. The novel Absalom, perhaps Faulkner's finest novel. It is about the rise of self-made plantation owner and his tragic fall through racial prejudice and a failure to love. Harry Sinclair Lewis. Harry Sinclair Lewis was an American novelist, short story writer, and playwright. In 1930, he became the first writer from the United States to receive the Nobel Prize in Literature. His important works are Main Street, Aerosmith, Babbitt, Elmer Gantry, Cass Timberlane. The novel Mainstream deals with sterilized, monotonous, hypocritical small town life. The novel Aerosmith, it traces a doctor's efforts to maintain his medical ethics amid greed and corruption. Babbitt, here the protagonist, George Babbitt, is an ordinary businessman living and working in Janith. It is an ordinary American town. Babbitt is moral and enterprising and a believer in business as the new scientific approach to modern life. Becoming restless, he seeks fulfillment but is disillusioned by an affair with a bohemian woman. After that, he returns to his wife and accepts his lot. Elmer Gantry exposes revivalist religion in the United States. The novel Cass Timberlane studies the stresses that develop within the marriage of an old judge and his young wife. John Steinbeck. John Steinbeck is a Nobel laureate. His important, best known work is the Pulitzer Prize winning novel The Grapes of Wrath, which follows the travels of a poor Oklahoma family that loses its farm during the Depression and travels to California to seek work. Family members suffer conditions of feudal oppressions by the rich landowners. His other works are Tortilla Flat, Of Mice and Men, Cannery Row, East of Eden. Richard Wright. The important works of Richard Wright are Black Boy, Uncle Tom's Children, Native Son. Black Boy is his autobiography. Uncle Tom's Children is a book of short stories. Native Son, which is the powerful novel written by Richard Wright. Here, Bigger Thomas, an uneducated black youth, mistakenly kills his white employer's daughter, gruesomely burns the body. After that, he murders his black girlfriend, fearing she will betray him. Zora Neale Hurston. Her important works are Mules and Men, Tell My Horse, Their Eyes Were Watching God, Dust Tracks on a Road. Eugene O'Neill. Eugene O'Neill is the first American playwright to receive Nobel Prize. His important works are Desire Under the Elms, The Great God Brown, Morning Becomes Electra, Iceman's Cometh, Long Day's Journey into Night, The Hairy Ape, The Emperor Jones. The play Desire Under the Elms recreates the passions hidden within one family. The play The Great God Brown uncovers the unconsciousness of a wealthy businessman. The play Morning Becomes Electra, it is based on the classical Oedipus trilogy by Sophocles. The Iceman Cometh is a stark work on the theme of death. It contains many allusions to political topics, particularly anarchism and socialism. In the play, Hugo, Larry, and Don are former members of an anarchist movement. Larry, who is now a bitter man who claims to be waiting for death, is approached by his ex-girlfriend's son, Don, at the beginning of the play. And Don remains at the bar. The conversation between Don and Larry are among the most emotional in the play. The play Emperor Jones tells the story of Brutus Jones, an African American man who kills a man, goes to prison, escapes to a Caribbean island, and sets himself up as emperor. Thank you, dear friends. See you soon with a new video. Thank you.